Since its release in September of 2018, The Last Wish raid has always been praised by multiple Destiny 2 players. And since then, speedrunners have spent countless hours trying to optimize it. 5 years later, multiple teams have competed against and worked together to bring the record from the 30-minute mark all the way down to under 13 minutes. But how exactly is this possible? I'll try my best to explain some of the recent developments and what strategies are currently used by speedrunners. The run starts with all the players going through the main door to trigger the required voice line and immediately heading outside the map. 5 players take slightly different routes towards a load zone that upon being hit, starts to spawn the assets for the next encounter quicker and also teleports them right before the kalli door. The remaining player is able to hit the kalli load zone from under the map and rally, so he's able to start skipping to the next encounter, while the other players rally and start kalli. By using some type of tick damage, like necrotic grips or with a horde, players are able to prevent kalli from teleporting to other plates, and with a combination of golden gun supers and ×4 easy shots, they're able to quickly kill the boss. Once the skipper reaches the shuro door, the encounter starts since he's the only one in that load zone. He quickly switches to Gala Horn and starts killing the first few enemies while the rest of the fire team is getting joining allies. Very early in the raid's history, players realized that killing knights, phalanxes and ogres before killing any of the other smaller enemies would lead to less enemies spawning. That's why during this encounter, players prioritize killing certain enemies before others. After getting pulled to shuro, one player immediately heads towards the first puzzle room. That's because players recently found that by quickly activating and deactivating the plates, you're able to trick the game into maintaining the plates active forever. Their goal is to get most of the plates in that bugged state, while standing on any remaining ones, so that all 3 puzzles can instantly complete after the second damage is done. Another trick that was recently found is one that forces the game to start spawning certain enemies faster than it normally would. In order to do that, players need to break Shiro's shield while she's in the middle of her sneeze animation. Because of that, before the first and the third damage phases in this encounter, players will try to hide from her until all the adds are dead, so they're able to trigger the animation and break her shield at the same time. The ad clear is pretty straightforward throughout the encounter. You're always killing the smaller ads last, and trying to vary what player is shooting what spawn because of their weapons RPM. Whatever ammo players have left is used trying to pre-shoot ad spawns, which makes the game register their spawn and their death quicker. Once the second break happens, one player uses their golden gun super to instantly phase shuro, then all 3 puzzles start to auto-complete in the background while a different player immediately starts heading to the second floor so they can start killing the next set of ads right away. When players get to the second floor, 2 of them start heading towards the second puzzle room to perform the pre-plates trick while the rest of the team clears the floor. After doing the 4th break, another player pops golden gun and does enough damage to phase her, while everyone else starts heading to the 3rd floor. Other than spawn killing enemies on the correct order and doing damage fast, 2 of the hunters will swap to stasis and use the orbs generated by the warlock supers to get their stasis nades before the encounter ends. As soon as the boss dies, players start making their way to the next encounter. DSM is a term used to describe the act of blocking the default spawn of a load zone, usually using stasis crystals, which ends up sending whoever dies and respawns to the fallback spawn for the load. And the fallback spawn for the morgeth load happens to be right at the start of the encounter. As soon as players hit the next load zone, they die and wait to respawn when the 2 hunters are done blocking the default spawn with their stasis nades. one of the hunters has kept enough super energy and ammo from the previous encounter to skip rallying the flag, which allows them to instantly pick up the strength, while the other 5 players rally the flag. While the 3 hunters do the morgeth encounter, the warlocks will use strand supers and salvation's grip to perform the morgeth skip. By climbing a wall on the right side of the encounter and meticulously placing their crystals on certain spots, they're able to create a small ramp that they can use to launch themselves up using eager edge and specifically, the warlock's strand super, which allows them to go right through the encounter's pushback barrier. After getting to the other side of the wall, the warlocks swap back to Salvation's grip and start placing their crystals at the default spawn of the next load zone, to perform another DSM and spawn at the very beginning of the vault encounter. They position themselves on the plates that start the encounter, and as soon as morgeth dies, the game loads a few assets, updates checkpoints, and the vault encounter starts. The warlocks immediately step off the plates and start killing the initial enemies that spawn in their respective rooms. Killing adds is what progresses the encounter. That means they don't really need to hurry about reading the symbols in the middle, because that'll be done by the hunters once they get pulled to the encounter. When those adds are dead, one of the rooms will open and one of the warlocks will be taking care of the adds with a focus on killing the captain as quickly as possible, since that's what will trigger the adds to start spawning in the next room. The same thing is done for the second room. But then on the third room, one of the hunters will swap their gear so they're under the current base light for the game. That makes them incredibly vulnerable, since any hit they take will kill them, but it also means they won't be able to deal any damage to enemies. They'll take advantage of that by using tractor cannon to push the final captain towards the middle without actually killing them. They'll repeat this for the next 2 rounds, but on the final round, 2 of the warlocks jump through a hole at the top of the vault door and get ready to start skating towards the next encounter. As soon as the 2 warlocks get to Riven, they'll skip the rally and immediately jump on the closest plates to start the encounter. Each one of them will head to a different room, while the rest of the team gets pulled to the top of the encounter. Having 1 player on each side guarantees that no matter where the damage is, Riven will be stunned, which makes her arrive at the damage side quicker. When the current record was set, players were able to bounce heavy wave-frame GLs on Riven's claw, which would hit multiple times and deal massive damage. That's no longer possible, but you're currently still able to match the speed of the old kill simply by using a combination of rockets and supers. When everyone is teleported to the Ascendant Realm, one of the warlocks tries to get a good bounce upwards by well skating into part of Riven's body, while the 2 hunters tried to grapple onto a Lumina shot to reach the taken strength at the top. Once everyone gets teleported back, players shoot a ×4 Izzy shot and she's dead. Players swap to 4th Horseman, head down her throat, shoot the big blight and get ready to start the queenswalk. For the longest time, the strategy for this encounter was very simple. Players would launch the initial heart holder towards this area outside of her mouth, where a second heart holder would be chosen, and they'd keep getting launched until they reached the start of the vault area. 1 player would sneak through a hole at the top, while the heart holder was launched into this wall and killed by a different player, who would die quickly after to make sure the last person getting chosen is the one on the other side. This player would interact through the wall, and start dropping towards where you deliver the heart, to finally finish the run. But recently, Bungie made a change to the physics of the game that prevents players from dying whenever they get, for example, launched into a wall. To circumvent this problem, runners decided to opt for the riskier strat. A strat that increases the stakes even further for the very last minute of the run. The idea is, whoever is in control of resetting the heart holder's timer, would do so super early, so that the timer ends right as the player holding the heart gets close to the wall. This is the kind of strat that can completely kill a run, if anything goes slightly wrong. With all of that in mind, 5 years after its release, speedrunners were finally able to beat the raid in under 13 minutes. Even with this category's rich world record history, I'm certain the community will continue to come up with new strats and find new ways to get the record lower. Unless, maybe, Bungie removes the raid from the game.